typically, pregnancy and motherhood are things that many people didn't used to talk about in our society. It was something you had to go through sort of in a hush-hush way. But the good thing is more people are opening up and talking and sharing their experiences now, and that's very helpful, not just for other mothers to help them know that, oh, I'm not alone, but for other people who are also considering childbirth.
Okay.
So for you, what was when you first found out that you were pregnant the first time? What was it like?
Well, for me, I remember the moment I knew that I was pregnant, I started having more of the symptoms. I don't know if it is psychological, but that was my first reaction. I just started having all the nausea, everything. They just came. And before I didn't know now that I was pregnant. All I knew was I had missed my period, and I was wondering. And then when I knew, it was as if all the wells of nausea and it just opened up. So, but immediately it was confirmed that I was pregnant. I did a lot of YouTube, watched a lot of videos. It was very helpful. It was very helpful. And that's why we actually need to talk about our experiences, because other people's experiences helped us.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think we should talk about ours too.
Well, if I can say for mine, I think that when I got married, or when we got married, we didn't want to have a baby like immediately, and we actually took steps not to have a baby immediately. But of course, like when people found out, they're like, what's the meaning of that? Don't put yourself in trouble, blah, blah, blah. And then, well, let's just say that as soon as we took out the implant, like shortly after I got pregnant, and I've always been the person that loves children. From the get-go, I've loved children. So I don't know that I felt any kind of different. When God confirmed, I think my experience was I didn't have nausea. I didn't have vomiting. I didn't have nausea or vomiting. I just remember that, I think about towards the end of my first trimester, that's when I first started having real problems in pregnancy, and then I had to be admitted several times. I almost lost the pregnancy. Basically, I had fibroid degeneration in pregnancy in first trimester, and it's not very usual. I mean, in practice, I've seen women have it like second trimester or later on in pregnancy, but it was such a challenging time. And given that there's always that thing of, oh, you're pregnant, you're working, you don't want to give that vibe that because I'm pregnant, I'm not going to be efficient at work, I'm not going to be able to do what I'm supposed to do. It just felt very destabilizing, to say the least, to not be able to do, be my best, at my workplace. And eventually it had to take, someone who was my senior, she was someone, like my top supervisor, to sit me down and say, Tosin, this is a special place for you. And that, what you're doing now, you can always come back to it. But this is very, very important. Your health is important, your baby is important. And I thank God I had that kind of, that kind of support at that time. Otherwise, I don't know what I would have been a very low place for me, because I love work, but it would have been really low for me. But thankfully, hearing that from someone else then encouraged me to just take the step.
What's fibroid degeneration?
Okay. Fibroid degeneration, if I can explain it in really, really simple terms, basically they're like masses in the womb. They can grow in any part of the womb. They can grow inside, on the walls, anywhere. And usually when you're not pregnant, they don't tend to grow much. They just, stay their size. If they're big, they stay big, and if they're small, they stay small. But once you get pregnant, basically because life is being promoted, growth is being promoted. So growth for the baby means growth for the fibroid, and fibroid just they speed up. They grow really fast until they grow beyond what their blood supply can cope with. So then they begin to die. And when they do that, then they start having, those symptoms of fibroid degeneration then come with crippling pain. Crippling pain, triggering it would trigger contractions in some people, and then because of those contractions, pregnancy can lose the baby because of that. So that was that's the experience for some pregnant women, and they end up having to be in hospital, be on pain medications, be on bed rest, be on fluid.
Is there anything people could do to prevent such?
I mean, well, if there was a way to prevent fibroids, then there would be a way to prevent fibroid degeneration. But because, from the beginning, there isn't really, most people won't even know that they had a fibroid. It's just there, and then when they get pregnant, it just, happens. And that was the same thing that happened to me. I was so shocked because before I got pregnant, I did my medicals. There was nothing. And then nobody picked up anything. So it wasn't like from the time I found out. Once I did my first scan, they were like, "Oh, this is big. This is." I was like, "From where now?" That was how it was. And I know that it looked like I had a charmed pregnancy, but man, that was one leg. The other leg was something that some other women go through, and towards mid-pregnancy, like 23 weeks. I just woke up one morning and I was just, I was just having the runs, I was just having diarrhea. And then I know this is going to sound like icky, but for women who have gone through the pregnancy thing, they know it. They saw that mucus plug that you usually would see when the baby's coming out. I saw it, but it was my first pregnancy, so I didn't know what it was. I was just wondering, what is this? And I just didn't think much of it anymore until I started having pains. I had these pains that the doctor was so naive. I mean, I was walking up and down thinking that the pain would stop. If I was walking around, I was walking from one end of the hospital to the other. I laid down.
Did you stay at 23 weeks?
It was 23 weeks.
Wow.
Okay. And nothing was helping. It took almost the whole day. It was about 12 midnight, 1 a.m. when...
Already in labor.
Thank you. I didn't realize I was in labor. It was 12 midnight, 1 a.m. I was still in this pain, and then I said, let me just look at Google, because I don't know what is going on. I thought it was the fibroid degeneration thing, but it was not, the same. Like it. I just looked at it, and then, I saw all the things that happened, and I was like, oh my God, just hope me start. But here's where, just prayed, just believed, we slept. Next morning, I didn't feel one thing, nothing, didn't feel anything. But I know this is kind of long and one year, I'll just quickly, but at the end of the day, I had to go to hospital because I was, given all of that. My husband didn't want me to go on call the next day. I was supposed to be on call, and I was like, I have to go to work. If I don't go, I need to have a really good reason not to be at work. So got an admission, and then they told me that my cervix was open. So I wasn't feeling any pain, so I could have stayed at home. I could have just been at home and everything, but my cervix was open. And essentially had to do a cervical sacral. So that's another thing that I love. Pregnant women have to go through. Some people don't even realize that they have a lot of miscarriages, like mid-trimester miscarriages, and they don't realize that that's what's going on.
Okay, so what is cervical sacrilege?
Okay, basically, so having a cervical sacrilege is tying a rope around the neck of the womb to just imagine if you're tying I don't know how to describe it, but this is just tying a rope around the neck or something just to keep it shut. So basically just to keep it shut. So wrap it up. You just stay there. I can't forget. Whenever I remember these things, it just. I was knocked out, so I couldn't have knocked. I mean, it was that experience. Every time I think about it and I see the child in front of me.
And that was your first pregnancy. You had my
Oh God, remember that. I think many questions, but coming to that one, I really wasn't looking forward to getting pregnant again. But I remember someone telling me at her dedication, no, it wasn't her dedication, it was her naming ceremony, saying that all the things that you've gone through, that don't let them discourage you and everything and all of that. But let me be very, very honest. I mean, like, when at the end of everything, I was just happy to have her. I was just happy to have her. I remember when the doc told me, as soon as he identified what was going on and he said, we're going to have this surgery, emergency now. All the thoughts that just kept running through my mind were like, God, I've never had major surgery before. I've never been under GA before. Blah blah blah. What's going to happen? I know that people do this, procedure and their babies don't make it and everything. That what's going to happen? And I just kept asking. I asked for a word, I received it. Okay, asked for a word, received it. And we had that surgery, and I remember that. I wasn't awake, and I could feel people's hands on me, telling me, "Oh, Tosin, this is so and so. I heard about this, because it was in my workplace, that don't worry, you'll be fine. And immediately I could hear that my eyes were open. I was just looking for my baby. Like, where's my baby? And I just felt her kick. I was like, yes, thank God, she's still here. So, I think it was just someone saying to me that I could still go ahead to do it again, that just encouraged me to go ahead. And then I also love babies, I can't help it.
Was it exciting? Was it rough? Was it...
Okay. I guess my case is kind of peculiar. My first pregnancy was peculiar. Everybody knows the story. So yeah, I pretty much had to go through my pregnancy for the first couple of months by myself because I was hiding the fact that I was pregnant. So of course when I found out I was pregnant, the first thing I did was, oh my god. What am I going to do? Cry, whatever. So of course it wasn't hallelujah. But then, of course, when I found out I was pregnant, the first thing that came to my mind was, how do I not let people know? Of course, for as long as I can remember, even when you watch movies, the things you hear, the things you see, there's always pointers. When you get this pregnant, she will spit everywhere, she will throw up, she will, her nose will be big, all those things. So, of course, all those things worried me, especially because I didn't want anyone to know I was pregnant yet. So, of course, then I Googled, symptoms of pregnancy. So, and then of course while I was Googling, I found out, not everyone has these symptoms, so that's the lie I believed for so long. And that was like an actual thing, like when you're pregnant, you have to, it's compulsory, that's how you know you are really pregnant. So when I found out, I was just like, God, please cover my shame. I'm sorry, or please help me just hide myself. I'm not going to spit, I'm not going to throw up, I'm not going to, all those things. I don't want anybody to know just yet, In fact, not even just yet, I don't want anybody to know ever, sincerely. Right, I know, but I just didn't want anyone to know, so like, God, please, And thankfully, pregnancy was almost completely smooth sailing. I didn't spit, I didn't throw up, I didn't have all the symptoms that everyone has, or most people have. I didn't have any of these things. But one of the things that happened to me while I was pregnant, I remember one morning sleeping and then waking up, and then my face felt funny. And then I looked in the mirror. First of all, it was slight, I just felt like my mouth shifted a little bit. My mouth shifted a little bit and my eyes were a bit shut. First of all, I was scared. I was like, what's going on? So I went to the hospital and they're like, don't worry, it's not a big thing. It's not a big deal. It was like, he gave it a name, say it's facial nerve palsy.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh my God, of course, I looked like it wasn't such a big deal initially, but then it got worse every day. Like my face literally, like half of my face was sunken down, half of it like down. My mouth, my eyes was a bit shut. Droopy. That's the word, My mouth shifted to this. It made me so sad. Sometimes I had to start thinking of hairstyles that will cover one half of my face. I didn't find it funny. I was so sad. I was like, what sort of wahala is this, Well, we got through. It was like that from, I think, from when I was like 7 months pregnant till the end of my pregnancy. And of course, it's like a souvenir that any other game, because up till now, no, it's not funny. Because up till now, of course, it's not as prominent, but maybe when I'm stressed, you see my eyes, one of my eyes, like, a bit more short than the other was. So that's my pregnancy souvenir from Timmy. Other than that, most of my pregnancies were
just about the same. I don't have all that. And then of course I experienced the whole fibroid thing, but I don't think it was as intense. I know I woke up one morning like that and I felt this intense pain in my tummy. I was like, what's happening to me? I've never felt such pain in my life. You know, thank God for me. She took me to the hospital, and then of course by the time it was, oh, it's not a big deal. They're fibroids, but they're small. It's normal. Don't worry. They can coexist with your baby. You'll be fine. And I guess maybe when I hear things like that, and that was the last time I felt the pain again. But I experienced that a little bit. But other than that, it was really pregnancy. Really, I think that's the best part of having the baby for me. Like pregnancy is the best time for me because me, the actual voice after the baby comes out, that's when. But yeah.
Available at YouTube at RCCG Joshua VILLE. Joshua VILLE, raising influential leaders, fulfilling purpose.